Hi, I'm Eric from Simply Elegant Home Cooking. We're entering fall time, which is my favorite time of year. One of the reasons why I love making my own homemade soup. So today I'm going to demonstrate my recipe for an Italian 15-bean soup with Italian sausage and fresh herbs. I'm going to show you the right way to do this. It's not the quickest or the easiest way, but if you follow the simple steps that I lay out, you're going to get a tremendous result. We're going to build layers of flavor, so stick around and I'm going to show you how it's done. So to get started, this is the exact product that I like to use for my beans. This is really convenient because you can buy this one bag for about $3 at the grocery store. It's available everywhere, and it gives you the full variety of 15 different types of beans. Okay, and the contents of that bag include not just the beans, but also this flavoring packet. Now I'm actually going to take that out and discard it because I'm making an Italian version of the soup, and we're going to build that flavor using the most authentic Italian ingredients. And what we want to do, we want to soak the beans. Now I already did this last night. I bought 2 bags of the 15-bean soup mix. So this one has been soaking overnight. All you need to do, you need to just pour it into a big bowl, cover it with cold water. Make sure you reserve several inches of water above those beans because you can see they really expanded. So you want to set that out at room temperature overnight. And now I just want to rinse this very thoroughly and drain it off. Once you drain the beans, what you're left with should look a little something like this. And there's a reason I did it off camera. It's easy to make a mess. Okay, so now that our beans are prepped, we can begin building layers of flavor into our bean soup. And it starts with the Italian sausage. I'm using sweet. You could also use spicy or a combination. I have a pound of it here. And you also want to be sure that you have a really high quality Italian extra virgin olive oil. This is the one that I like to use. Now you don't necessarily have to use this brand, but if you want to know when you're shopping for Italian extra virgin olive oils, if you want to be sure to get a good product, look for this protected geographical indication. If you see that seal on the packaging, you can rest assured that you're getting a very high quality product. And in a large Dutch oven or soup pot, you just want to go with a little bit of that extra virgin olive oil. You don't need much because the sausage has a lot of fat that's going to render out. I broke that in 2 pieces just so it's a little easier to work with. And we just want to get some nice color, and we're going to break this down with the spatula as it cooks. And if you're using a cast iron Dutch oven like I am, these things get pretty hot, so I preheated that on medium, but I just turned it down more like to medium low. And that should be plenty. And what you want to do as this cooks, you just want to take a spatula and break it up. A little something like that, so we'll check back in a few minutes. And as that cooks, you just want to continue to work it with your spatula, a little something like that. Be constantly stirring it. And when the sausage looks about like this, when the pink has all but dissipated, we want to add in some veggies. So I'm using 1 onion, sweet yellow onion, a carrot, and some celery. And you'll notice I've diced this up but left it pretty decent size pieces in there. And you just want to get that in there and give it a big stir. I'm also going to add a little bit of sea salt. Don't be too heavy-handed because there's plenty of salt in that sweet Italian sausage. And I like to use a significant amount of freshly cracked black pepper. And every minute or so you just want to give that a big stir. And for great Italian flavor, fresh thyme is hard to beat. All you need to do, use your fingers and just strip those leaves off. Like that. And then you just want to work it with your knife to cut them down a little bit further. Just about like that. So I'm going to chop up a little bit more of that thyme. Okay, so I have the rest of the thyme ready. I used about 7 or 8 sprigs total. And once those veggies have been going for about 5 minutes is when we want to add in that fresh thyme as well as about 3 cloves of garlic. I crushed 3 cloves of garlic in a garlic press, and we want to get this in there later than the veggies because this can burn. So we only want to cook this for about a minute or so before we're going to add the stock. So you want to get that in there and move it constantly. And at the same time, you also want to add some crushed red pepper flakes as well as some dry oregano. So I'm going to continue stirring for just another few moments. Okay, and about this time, this is when your kitchen begins to smell amazing. So after just about a minute of cooking that garlic, you do not want to burn it, I'm going to go in with some stock. Now I'm using a homemade chicken stock. It's imperative that you use homemade to get a good result with this. I'm going to crank the heat up to medium high to bring this up to temperature, and I have another 4 cups. I added 4 cups of the stock. I'm going to be adding another 4 cups in just a second. I have a link in the description box below if you want to see my recipe for making homemade chicken stock. Okay, and actually before I put the second half of that chicken stock in there, I'm going to add back in the beans. I'm going to do it off camera so I can do it slowly and carefully. Don't make a mess. Okay, and now that those beans are in there, we can carefully add the second half of the stock without risk of making a mess. Okay. So now that we have all of our stock in there, you just want to give this a big stir to make sure there's nothing stuck on the bottom of the pot, and we want to bring this up to a simmer. So once you start to get some bubbling and your soup looks about like this is a good time to test it for seasoning. So that's actually perfect. We had a decent amount of salt in the sausage, as well as the chicken stock had a little too, but you can add a little bit more if you need. But at this time, I'm going to turn the heat down to about medium-low. We just want to cook this on a gentle simmer. And we're going to be adding some more ingredients. We're going to be adding some tomato product, some canned San Marzano tomatoes, as well as some Italian white wine. But with beans, you don't want to add acidic ingredients until they're mostly cooked. They can turn out tough. So we're going to check back once this has been simmering for about an hour and a half. Okay, so an hour and a half has elapsed since the last segment, and here's how our soup is looking. So at this point, the beans are most of the way cooked through. I tested one and it's almost ready, but needs a little bit more time. You'll notice that the volume has reduced, which is actually a good thing, because at this point, we can add the next ingredients. We're going to add in the tomato product as well as the white wine. And this is the exact tomato product that I like to use when I make this soup. This is a 28-ounce can of San Marzano tomatoes. These are imported from a very specific region in Italy. And kind of like with the olive oil, you know you're getting quality when you see this exact seal on the packaging. And those San Marzanos come packaged whole, so I just crushed them up with my hand off camera. And I want to just kind of slowly get them into the soup. And for the wine, this is just like all the other ingredients. You want to be as authentic as you can be. So I always like to use an Italian white wine. Today I'm using a pinot grigio, but there's other options. So I'm going to go in with maybe about a cup of the wine. And one thing that's really, really important, you want to be sure to use a wine that you would actually enjoy drinking. If you wouldn't enjoy sipping on it, then you probably shouldn't be cooking with it as well. And with those ingredients in there, I'm going to again just give it a big stir to incorporate everything. And we're going to let this go for about another 30 minutes or so. Again, we added those acidic products, the tomatoes and the white wine, because the beans turn out better that way. They can have a tendency to get a little tough if they're cooked in an acidic product. And I just let that wine cook off for about 30 minutes. Just let that do a low, gentle simmer. That's plenty of time to cook off the alcohol and allow those flavors to blend to finish cooking the beans fully. So at this point, we can turn off the heat, and I'm ready to add just a few final ingredients that go in last. I'm going to add the juice of half a lemon. And I'm also going to add a handful of chopped Italian parsley. So when you get those in, just give it another big stir to incorporate everything. And our Italian 15 bean soup is ready. We are ready to plate this up. Okay, so now it's time for my favorite part of every video, is when I get to dig in and give it a taste. See how this all turned out. Wow, that is just so good. The method we used, where we layered the flavors over the stovetop. That's really the way to do it. You know, when I see those Instapot recipes where they just dump the ingredients in, you're never going to get the kind of result doing it that way. But if you follow these steps, you can get an amazing result in your Italian 15-bean soup. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you give it a try. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Eric from Simply Elegant Home Cooking, and I'll see you again real soon.